necessarily mean that this particular kind of housing was needed?
Not necessarily.
All right, so even if there was a need for senior housing, there might not be a need for continuing care retirement community housing, is that correct?
That's correct.
All right, and you would only know that through what kind of study?
Well, there are, again, there's specialists that look at what portion of the senior population is likely to take advantage or need these services.
All right, I'm going to ask you to read to yourself, so take a minute, just a paragraph out of the J-Bar case. I've marked it there, and I'm going to ask you a question about it.
I read it.
Okay, now having read that paragraph from J-Bar, can you enlighten the board with respect to your testimony that what they're proposing here is not congregate care and what the differences are?
As I read the case, the court characterized the use that was proposed there as somewhere between senior housing and a nursing home. And the terms have evolved over time. That was called congregate care and licensed as such a time. But the court says this is not for independent living. They're not talking about that. They're talking about a facility for people that cannot live independently on their own without some assistance. So essentially what they were talking about that is what has evolved into assisted care. That case was viewed from today's viewpoint, an assisted care case, not a case for independent living.
And we don't really argue that assisted living is an inherently beneficial use?
That's an inherently beneficial use.
Thank you.
Can you read that paragraph?
I'd be happy to read it out loud. Just give me a moment. Sorry, close my book. The paragraph says the following. The congregate care facility which plaintiff proposes to construct is intended to provide housing and support services for elderly persons who are no longer able, by reason of age and associated disability, to live entirely independently, but who are also not sufficiently ill, disabled, or dependent to require nursing home placement. The facility was described by various of plaintiff's witnesses before the Board of Adjustment as something between traditional senior citizen housing consisting of fully self-contained apartments and a nursing home. It goes on